don't know why everybody has a problem with it.
Favorites, and of course, we have called it as we see today.
You're a pretty good player.
"He's my GOAT" is not a phrase most people expected to hear about Johnny Miller. For years, some people thought he was too blunt, too harsh, too honest. They said he made players feel bad on television. They said he talked about things golfers were not supposed to talk about out loud. But in 2023, golf gave him one of its highest honors. The United States Golf Association named Johnny Miller the 2023 Bob Jones Award recipient. That is the USGA's highest honor. It goes to people who show the spirit, the character, and the deep respect for golf that Bob Jones himself showed. The fact that Miller received it tells you everything about how the game truly felt about him. And if you believe legends should still get their flowers, use the hype feature right now and give this video some hype. Johnny Miller's story is about how respect in golf is earned the hard way. It is about a man whose swing was nearly perfect, whose peak was nearly impossible, and whose honesty never wavered. Let the hype feature know this story deserves to be seen. The award was given on the 50th anniversary of Miller's most famous win. That timing was not an accident. It was a reminder that what happened at Oakmont in 1973 still matters. That what Miller built still matters. That the men who played against him, watched him, and broadcast alongside him still carry a deep respect for what he did. But to understand why legends respected Johnny Miller, you have to start with the swing. Jack Nicklaus was the greatest golfer of all time. He studied every player who came near him. He watched swings the way a scientist watches an experiment. And when Jack Nicklaus watched Johnny Miller swing a golf club, he saw something rare. He saw a man whose club face stayed square through the hitting zone for longer than almost anyone else on tour. That consistency came from the way Miller set his left wrist at the top of his backswing. It had a slight cup shape. That position let his hands and thumbs support the club from underneath. It kept the path clean and controlled. The result was a ball flight that flew straight and true almost every single time. Golf analysts said Miller hit the prettiest ball on tour. That is not a small thing. In an era before launch monitors and data tracking, your ball flight was your report card, and Miller's report card was almost always perfect. But Nicklaus did not just respect the shape of Miller's swing. He respected what Miller did with it. Miller did not aim at greens, he aimed at flags. He asked his caddy, Andy Martinez, for yardages down to the half yard. He wanted to know exactly how far he was from the flag, not just the green. And he was accurate enough to actually use that information. Miller built a drill to sharpen that contact. He called it the brush drill. On the practice range, he would make swings whose only goal was to brush the grass in the perfect spot. He did this over and over until he knew precisely where his club touched the ground. That knowledge let him hit the sweet spot every time, with no guessing involved. Tom Watson, an 8-time major champion, talked about something he and Miller agreed on completely. They both believed in letting the arms hang naturally at address. They followed the teaching of Byron Nelson, who said a golfer cannot stand too close to the ball. Standing too far away stiffens the arms, tightens the shoulders, and sends the swing off track. Letting the arms hang free removed all that tension. Watson respected Miller because of how deeply Miller understood the craft. Lee Trevino was one of the best ball strikers the game has ever produced. He and Miller played many practice rounds together. They watched each other hit shots, they talked about what worked, and Trevino gave Miller one of the most useful pieces of advice he ever received. He said, "If you're choking, buddy, just hit it low. It doesn't have time to get offline." That advice sounds simple, but it is deep. When your nerves are affecting your swing, a low shot does not have enough time in the air to go badly wrong. Miller took that advice and used it to win tournaments. On tight tee boxes where fear was creeping in, he would tee the ball low, lean to his left, and hit a controlled low fade. He called that shot one of his best weapons. Trevino also had a move through impact where his head would slide forward down the target line rather than staying still. Miller saw how that move helped extend the arms and keep the fade under control. He adopted it himself. Trevino respected Miller because Miller could learn from anyone. None of the respect those legends gave Miller came without proof. And the proof came in a way no one expected on a Sunday at Oakmont Country Club in June 1973. Oakmont was one of the hardest golf courses in the world. It was set in western Pennsylvania, 30 miles from Arnold Palmer's hometown of Latrobe, and Arnold Palmer was in the final group on Sunday, tied for the lead. The fans who followed Palmer were not just fans. They were an army. They moved with him, shouted for him, and made the air feel charged with electricity. When Miller played the first 2 rounds alongside Palmer, he saw how intense that pressure was. Fans would rush to the next tee the moment Palmer sank a putt. Sometimes they moved while Miller was still getting ready to hit his own shot. Staying calm in that environment took something special. Then Saturday happened. Miller forgot his yardage book in his hotel room. He had no numbers to rely on. He guessed on distances over blind hazards and hit the ball poorly. He made 5 over par in just the first 6 holes. By the end of the day, he had shot 76 and fell 6 shots behind the leaders. He was tied for 13th place. He was out of the tournament. Sunday morning, Miller went to the practice range feeling free. He had nothing to lose. He was not in contention, so he just hit balls. And while he was hitting, something clicked. A thought came into his head. He opened his stance. He adjusted the way he stood at the ball, and his final 6 practice shots flew dead straight. Every single one. He took that feeling to the first tee. He birdied the first hole. He birdied the second. He birdied the third. He birdied the fourth. 4 birdies in a row to start a final round at the US Open, on one of the most brutal courses in the world. He kept going. He hit every single green in regulation, all 18. 10 of his approach shots finished within 15 feet of the cup. He made 9 birdies and only 1 bogey, a par 3 where he could not quite convert. When he signed his scorecard, it read 63, 8 under par. The rest of the field averaged 73, 8 that day. Miller beat the field average by more than 10 shots. John Schley was the only man who had a chance to catch him. Schley stood on the 18th tee, needing a birdie to force a playoff. His approach flew just over the back of the green. His 45-foot chip for birdie rolled with perfect speed and stopped 1 foot short. He finished second, 1 shot behind. Arnold Palmer, who had been tied for the lead, fell apart after seeing the leaderboard. He made 3 straight bogeys on holes 12, 13, and 14. Miller's round broke him and broke the rest of the field at the same time. Nicklaus was there that day. He finished tied for 9th. He saw what Miller did, and he never forgot it. That round became the standard. That round was proof. Miller's peak in the years that followed made legends look at him differently. From 1974 to 1976, he won 15 events on the PGA Tour and 2 majors. But the numbers that scared people most were the desert numbers. In 1975, Miller won the Phoenix Open by 14 shots. In the same year, he won the Tucson Open by 9 shots. In those desert tournaments, across 34 rounds, he was under par in 31 of them. He carded 27 rounds in the 60s. His cumulative desert score across those wins was 144 under par. Andy North, a 2-time US Open champion, said that what Johnny was doing was a joke. During the 1975 Tucson Open, Miller said his average iron shot for the entire week finished within 2 feet of his target line. Not 2 feet from the hole, 2 feet from the line he was aiming at. That is precision at a level that almost does not seem real. When the 1975 Masters came around, Miller was right in the middle of one of the most famous final rounds in Augusta history. He, Jack Nicklaus, and Tom Weiskopf fought down the back 9 together. The philosophical difference between Miller and Nicklaus was on full display. Nicklaus played carefully. He took safe shots. He laid back from pins when the smart play was a par. Miller attacked. He aimed at flags. He trusted his iron play completely. He sometimes referred to Nicklaus's safe style as chicken golf. Tom Watson disagreed strongly. Watson said Nicklaus's strategy was not cowardice. It was the highest form of competitive maturity. On the par 3 16th hole, Nicklaus hit a 5-iron to the upper tier and faced a 40-foot breaking putt. He holed it. The gallery exploded. Weiskopf, standing on the tee watching, was rattled. He hit a poor shot and 3-putted to hand Nicklaus the lead. Miller birdied the 17th to get within 1, but his 20-foot birdie putt on the 18th lipped out. Nicklaus won his 5th green jacket. Miller lost that day. But the fact that he came so close, attacking pins all the way down the stretch, showed exactly the kind of golfer he was. He respected risk. He believed in his swing. He was never going to play it safe when he thought he could make something happen. That is why legends respected him even when he did not win. The following year, Miller won the 1976 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale. He outdueled Nicklaus and a teenage Seve Ballesteros by 6 shots. That was his 2nd major. And then the yips came. The yips are a neurological condition. They cause involuntary twitching through the stroke. On short putts, the hands stop doing what the brain is telling them to do. In golf, admitting to the yips was seen as dangerous. Players feared that saying the word out loud would make things worse. So most players avoided the topic. They blamed the weather, they blamed their grip, they blamed anything except the truth. Miller said the truth. He stood in front of cameras and said he had the yips. He described the terror of standing over a short putt and feeling like his hands belonged to someone else. His ball striking through the late 1970s and 1980s was still clean and beautiful. But the putting was a long, public struggle. His peers watched him deal with it honestly, and they respected him more for it. He tried different things. He used a 48-inch long putter to stabilize his wrists. He tried looking at the cup instead of the ball during his stroke. He tried changing his mental approach. And in 1994, at the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am, he found his most creative solution. Standing over an 18-foot putt on the last hole to win the tournament, he pretended to be his son. In his mind, he stepped outside himself and became someone else. Someone who had no yips. Someone who was calm and confident. The putt went right in the center of the cup. It was the last win of his career. And it may have been the most human thing he ever did on a golf course. Nicklaus saw all of this. He had been a supportive presence through Miller's darkest periods. When Miller thought about walking away from the sport in the late 1970s, Nicklaus urged him to stay. That mentorship never faded. Their bond lasted long after both men left the competitive game. When Miller walked into the NBC broadcast booth in 1990, golf commentary was a polite business. Commentators softened bad shots and found excuses for poor decisions. Miller changed all of that. He brought the same honesty to the microphone that he had brought to the first tee at Oakmont. He said what he saw. When a player choked, Miller said so. When a swing broke down, he said exactly why. Players were not happy at first. They questioned his right to critique them so directly, but over time, they could not argue with his preparation. Miller did not sit in the booth and guess. He walked the course every morning before a broadcast. He got into bunkers, he stood in hazards, he studied every green by rolling putts from different angles. He did the homework. Then, when he was on television, he would predict what a putt would do before the ball was even hit. And he was right. That preparation, combined with his Hall of Fame credentials, built an authority that peers could not dismiss. Nicklaus praised Miller's 29 years in the booth. He said Miller took hits for being brutally honest, but that he was probably the most insightful voice in golf because he had the courage to call the game exactly as he saw it. Tiger Woods respected the way Miller's presence changed the standard for golf commentary. Nick Faldo respected his direct personality and his refusal to hide what he saw. Tom Kite admired the same fearlessness in Miller the broadcaster that he saw in Miller the player. Miller's longtime broadcast partner, Dan Hicks, said working with Miller was like riding a bike. Smooth, natural, reliable. Hicks also noted some of Miller's personal quirks in the booth, like eating cheese whiz and going barefoot during many of their 232 broadcasts together. In 2010, four legends came together at the Jack Nicklaus designed golf club at Harbor Shores. Nicklaus, Palmer, Watson, and Miller played a skins exhibition to celebrate the course opening. On the 10th green, Palmer's 100-foot eagle attempt rolled up and came right back. Miller looked at the green and made a comment about how tough it was. Nicklaus, who designed the green and did not appreciate the criticism, grabbed his putter and sank the 100-foot putt in front of 2,000 people. It broke 15 feet left to right. That is what decades of elite competition produces. They challenged each other because they respected each other deeply. That bond is part of what the Bob Jones Award recognized. The award honored the full picture. Not just the 63 at Oakmont, not just the desert dominance, not just the broadcasting career. The full picture. Miller was the first player ever to win both the U.S. Junior Amateur and the U.S. Open. That combination was so rare that only Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth have matched it since. He won the Junior Amateur in 1964. He won the Open in 1973. Both times, he was the best player in the field on the day it mattered most. He also spent more than 40 years supporting American Indian Services. He organized and played in 140 golf fundraisers. He helped raise approximately $20 million to fund college scholarships and education programs for Native American students. He built the Johnny Miller Champ Foundation, named after the nickname his father gave him, to provide coaching and access to junior golfers who needed it. In 1997, the National Golf Foundation honored the Miller family with the Jack Nicklaus Golf Family of the Year Award. That award was for families who showed what golf could look like when it was lived with purpose. So here is the answer to the question this video started with. Why did golfing legends respect Johnny Miller? They respected him because his iron play was as pure as anything they had ever seen. His 63 at Oakmont was not luck. It was nerve and precision on the hardest day and the hardest course imaginable. They respected him because his peak was so dominant that other players openly admitted they felt like they were competing for second place. They respected him because he told the truth about the yips when no one else would. They respected him because he walked into the broadcast booth and held the game to a higher standard. They respected him because he backed up every word with preparation and Hall of Fame credentials that no one could question. And they respected him because even after the trophies were done and the cameras were off, he was still giving back to the game and to people who needed it. Johnny Miller was not respected because he was easy to celebrate. He was respected because his best golf was too pure to ignore, and at his peak, it looked like golf played with a laser.